Hey guys, Jordan from Pre-Condo here. Wanted to give you guys a quick market update here, go through some of the numbers we are seeing. Obviously, a lot of markets are down month over month. We're seeing some corrections in some markets and other markets we're not. So let's go through some of the numbers here. I'm going to show you some specific comparables and some listings that sold for 20% less than their most recent sales. So let's go through the numbers here. All right, so first up here is a chart from our friend Zealand. And you can see here the blue line is all of the active resale inventory on the market across the GTA for all housing types. You can see here we kind of hit an inventory bottom around January and February. And that was when we saw, the most rapid price growth across almost every segment of the housing market. Everything from condos in downtown Toronto to homes in Oshawa and homes in Barrie. And we are now seeing, inventory build rather rapidly. Now, what's really interesting is the rental market is on fire. Now, this isn't atypical, right? You tend to see rental prices push up when interest rates go up. So this is actually pretty normal to see. We're seeing bidding wars on any good condos downtown, on the rental market. And the condo market downtown is actually holding up pretty well on the resale market as well, but other housing markets are not. All right, next up, we've got a nice infographic here from House Sigma, much nicer than the graphics I usually make for these videos. So thank you, House Sigma. And this is showing the sort of correction in price that we've seen from February 2022 to April 19th of 2022 in average price depending on area. So you can see here, Milton's down 15%, Brock's down 29%. We got King down 16%, Mississauga down 11%, Brampton down 11%, Vaughan down 10%. So what we're kind of seeing for the most part is a cooling of the outskirts GTA areas for the most part, right? Like no particular housing segment is doing great right now, but the segments getting hit the hardest are actually the ones that did the best through COVID, which makes sense. They'd be most sensitive to interest rate hike. And this is a great chart. It shows in the red bar here, the appreciation basically from February of 2020 to February of 2022. So, pre-COVID to the absolute peak of the market. And then the orange line shows that the correction we've seen since the peak. So since February of 2022 through April of 2022. And this is based on median price, so it's a little bit better of an indicator than average price. You can see here, Durham, for example, is up 86%. If you watch my videos, I've been picking out Whitby homes. I feel really bad for anybody who bought, pre-construction freehold homes in Whitby in February because they bought at such elevated values, even more expensive than resale. And now resale prices are coming down rather rapidly, right? So there are going to be a lot of buyers in really sticky situations. We're already seeing that. My real estate lawyer was just saying the other day he had to refer 5 of his closing files away for litigation because buyers are refusing to close. And what you have to remember about those situations is if one person fails to close on a property, first of all, you don't just get to walk away from your deposits, because if the seller goes to resell that property and now sells it for a lower price, you can be sued for the difference in price, right? So a lot of times it's way more expensive to walk away from a deal than just your 5% deposit. The other thing to consider is it can really create a cascading effect, because if buyer 1 bought from seller 1, seller 1 probably bought another property as well. And if he's not able to close on that property as a result of his property not closing because of the initial buyer, oftentimes you get a situation where 2, 3, 4 transactions in a chain are broken because of one buyer not being able to close, right? Most people aren't sitting on $500K cash to be able to come up with the difference if their home doesn't close and they don't get the funds or the proceeds from that sale. What's really interesting about this chart is the city of Toronto is holding up the absolute best. It also appreciated the least through COVID out of the markets on this chart. So it's the least sensitive to hikes. And then also you have the return of, the city's open. So the net benefit of being downtown is restaurants are booming. Everyone's having a great time, right? It's nothing like the COVID market. Work from home is you're starting to see some, we'll call it regression in work from home. Some people are being called back to the office, even if it's a hybrid model, as you're seeing more and more people move back into the city of Toronto. And that's also why the rental market is doing so well. And so you see City of Toronto as a whole, the 416 proper is holding up best in this market. So I said condos are holding up. So I pulled a couple of quick examples. Here is 2 units at YC Condos. One is 518 square foot. The other is 519 square foot. They're only 10 floors apart and they both face west. Neither of them have parking. You can see here, we're seeing a sale price today of $840K, seeing a sale price in February of $833K. So you're not seeing prices accelerate, right? But you're seeing them hover and trade sideways. And then you have Spire Condos here, sort of in the core, exact same unit on a different floor. You have it back in March for 1.215 and you have it today for 1.221. So again, just kind of prices trading sideways in the condo market right now. Now we pivot to detached. And again, I like, look, I'll be honest. I don't know why people are so shocked that prices are cooling in these outskirts areas. When you have price appreciation of, 80%, 60 to 80%, some even higher, but areas like Bancroft saw 100% appreciation from the start of COVID through today. It's no surprise that when rates start hiking and buyer sentiment starts declining, that you're going to see relatively quick corrections in these outskirts markets. You can't anticipate 20, 30, 40% year over year price growth forever. At some point, there's going to be a little bit of a cooling, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. So like I was saying, here's a home in Pickering. And by the way, guys, I think it's ridiculous that I have to blur out these addresses. Technically, I'm not allowed to show this data without blurring out the addresses, but you guys can go to House Sigma. You can set up a profile to show you all the homes that sold for less than previously bought, and it'll spit this data out for you. So here's a home. It sold in January of this year for 1.65. That purchase probably failed, or that purchaser turned around and sold it. More likely, it's just a failed purchase, and it resold this month for 1.33. So just under 20% decline in price since January. Then you have this one in Strathroy. You have it selling in February for $780K and then $640K. So again, just below 20% price decline. And then you've got this one here selling for $850K now. And back in February, it was over $1 million property. So something like an 18% price decline on this one out in Cordis. If we zoom into York, for example, I just picked York as an example because, York, Peel, Durham, these are the areas seeing the most rapid cooling. Detached in York down 16%, townhomes down 19%, semis down 17%, and condos are up 2%. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking that I cherry picked the condo data because my name's Free Condo. No. So if you go to House Sigma and you set up your profile to say Toronto condos, show me any listings that were recently sold for less than previously purchased, only one listing shows up, and it's this one. And this one sold in March for $907,000, and it just recently resold for $901,000. So again, not really seeing condo prices budge a whole. I mean, that's a price decrease of $6,000. That's a rounding error that's negligible at best. I do think condos will continue to hold up the best. I think we'll start to probably see, if rates continue to hike, I think condos are going to see pain, just like the detached and freehold market in the outskirts is. But I think they'll hold up the best because the current average price difference between a condo and a detached in the 416 is about $1.1 million, which is the largest gap we've seen since 2017, but it's even higher than the 2017 gap. And we all know what happened then. Detached corrected, condos appreciated in order to normalize that gap in that 700 to 800K window once again. Just a quick chart here showing the benchmark price of a condo in Toronto. And you can see the light gray line. Through COVID, we saw prices decline, kind of hit a peak of 634 and then declined to 597,000. Then in 2021, we saw pretty modest growth through the year, and then it started really taking off towards the end of the year. And then early this year, obviously, we've had an unbelievable market for condos, but I think you're going to kind of start to see it plateau around here and trade sideways a bit. That's just my opinion. If we see more and more rate hikes, June, I'm anticipating another 50 points. I don't know how far they're going to go past June, but if they do, you can expect condos to probably take a little bit of a cooling. And then, like I said, condo rents are up 20%, right? So you can see here the average rent of a condo in Toronto, a one bedroom went from $1,900 to $2,200 almost. A two bedroom went from $2,400 to $2,800. So the condo rental market doing incredibly well. I do anticipate that trend will continue, especially as rates continue to rise. That is it for this week, guys. I will catch you guys next video.